Hello, welcome back to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper, and we are back out at the Dragline again today. Now, this video is not going to be the normal Dragline crane video. We're going to be in the shop for the whole thing, doing a lot of machining. It's going to be an interesting project, but we're starting on parts for the Dragline again. So let's head over to those parts, take a look at what they are. Now, a while back, if you guys remember, I had Connor take the idlers, the track rollers, off the crane, and we found problems with the shafts themselves. All are wore badly, the bushings were gone. This is one of the worst ones. I'll bring it up, you can take a look. So we have to make new shafts. Now, this project was supposed to be Connor's project, but he has officially left. He is actually, today is September 17th when I'm starting the filming on this video. And he gave me his notice yesterday. He said he just can't work anymore. He's got family issues to deal with, and then he goes off to basic training on the 8th. I was really hoping he'd get this job done before he left, but now I'm gonna have to do it, and I'm running out of time. So I want to get this done before winter, so we're gonna get on it. So let's get in the shop. We got the material already cut, and let's start machining. So we're just starting with some 2-inch 1045 cold rolled round, and I'm using the Monarch just because it's a smaller spindle bore and it gives me a stop, a definite stop. And actually this is a brand new chuck I just got. It's a, from KBC Tools, it's an Atlas, but it's a Pratt & Bernard low end. So it's a little cheaper. This was like 700 bucks. And I got it because I got rid of the little Monarch. So I needed something to run all those soft jaws and stuff I had. And this is working really well for me. All right, I'm gonna face off this end, and we're just cutting this thing to length. We'll flip it around, take a light facing cut, and we'll pull out and measure it and just see where we are as far as our overall length, and then finish it off. And zero the digital readout at the same time. See where we're at here. We got 112, 111 thousandths to go. The last thing here is to drill center drill mark for the grease hole drilling, and we're using the anchor lube. All right, this one's all done. I'll go ahead and get the rest of them done to this point, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so as you can see, I'm here at the radial drill. I already got myself set up. I got flood coolant going, and I drilled the first part to get everything set up and dialed in. So I did the tap drill size and then the countersink for the grease zerk. Next, I'm gonna have to set up separately and drill for the halfway through for the grease to get to the middle of the shafts. So we're just gonna go ahead and get the first parts of this drilled. We'll drill them all, and then I'll do the deep drill. So let's go ahead and start drilling. Now I'm sure everybody saw the wobble in the drill there, and that's just the nature of the beast with this magic chuck, and I did a video explaining that. But there's our finished hole, except for the full depth for grease. And if you're wondering about the setup, that's pretty straightforward. I got my vise clamped here to the side of my table, and I've got a block right here. That sets my depth, and I got my cutout set on the radial drill here to kick out when I get to the depth on my countersink hole. So pretty straightforward. All right, so I'm on the last one here, and I just want to address this because somebody's going to say something about how this drill is dancing around a lot, back and forth, and that's because of the way it's sharpened. I have this one sharpened for drilling a very close to flat bottom, so similar to an end mill. And there we hit our kick out. So if you look at it, it's very flat, and that'll give me the flattest bottom down in there I can get. So that's why it dances around a bit until it gets started in past the side of the flute. And this one is done. Now I'll switch over to my long drill, and before anybody says, oh, why are you using a drill that freaking long? It's what I have on hand. So without spending any money, but quite honestly, I'm going to use most of it to get where I need to be, so that'll work out good. All right, so I got my drill in there, and I took the magic chuck out, and I did a split collet to lock the drill in, and it doesn't grip by much, but it should be enough, and went right to the Morse taper adapters up into the spindle. And now the reason I did all that other drilling first is now that gives me a funnel basically to make sure I have coolant going in there. As you can see, it's really pumping it in, so that'll work perfect. So let's drill this thing. Well, gee, that's going pretty boring. I'm just going a little at a time, bumping it back, clearing my chip. I've got my depth stop set right here on the quill to, I'm going in 6 1/4. That'll give me plenty of depth for grease hole. And when drilling this deep, it's all by feel and sound. I can hear when that drill is binding a little bit, and I know I need to stop and clear my chip. We're there. So of all the jobs in the shop, this is my least favorite, drilling holes. What's yours? I bet you most everybody will say drilling holes. All right, I don't know if you could hear that on the video or not, but the crunching sound that I hear every once in a while, that's the drill loading up with chips, and then I had to back it off and clear it out. So that's what you're listening for when you're doing these deep holes, is you hear that, and it's almost always too late by the time you hear that, but generally you can catch it. You just gotta listen closely for the first sign of it and back it out right away. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish drilling the rest of these, and then we'll move over to the horizontal mill. All right, well, I'm over here at the Cincinnati horizontal, and we're gonna start setting this up in here because the horizontal is gonna be the best way to do this, just for the rigidity of the machine and the coolant. So overall, it's gonna be a good setup. But we've got some pretty cool stuff to talk about first. I've got these vice jaws that are pretty awesome. We're gonna use these. They're called snap jaws. So I picked these things up a little while ago, and what they are is a very quick change vice jaw, which is really cool. You just do that. Slip it off. You've got these screws that tighten up. So quick, so easy. And we're actually going to use a V-jaw to hold this stuff. So let me just wipe this down, clean her up. And I'm actually putting it in there backwards just because of the thickness of the V-jaw. I know it's not going to work the best if I go the other way, just because of my tool holders and stuff. So as simple as that, it's changing out the jaws. These things are really cool. And I've actually got several different sets of these things. I've got some that are 4 inches tall for doing thick stuff. I've got some soft jaws. I've got these V-jaws. There's some vertical V-jaws also I'm going to order yet. Just really cool. They are not cheap though, but they are worth their weight in gold in a job shop setting. Well, now I got the jaws changed out. I'm going to go ahead and get my material set up, get my cutter set up, and get everything figured out as far as what I need for work holding, as far as my setup and stuff, get all that squared away, and then we'll move on to the milling. All right, so here's our first setup. I wound up taking the taller hard jaw out in the back here because I wouldn't have clearance, but I didn't need that height in order to clamp the 2-inch bar here. And then I set up a rigid stop once I measured and got it equal, a rigid stop for this end. And I've already touched off my cutter over here, got my end, and now we're just going to touch off on the top and find that. So in order to find the actual edge and get us started, we're going to use a piece of paper, and you just start the spindle. I know I'm below it. We'll slip that in, and when it pulls it out, we're there. Or within about 3 thou. We're there. It was about 3 thousandths. Okay, so on this end we're going to be climb milling, and I'm going to take 100 thou the first time. We'll just see how it does. I'm going to slow that down to 6 1/4 or 6 1/2. Actually, I'm going to go down to 4.5 inches a minute, running 225 RPM, and we'll get our flood coolant going. All right, well, let's see how good our backlash adjuster is, or how good our vise is at holding the material, because this is climb milling. Here goes nothing. Well, that didn't go too terrible. I'm going to take another 100 on this end and cut back the other way. All right, well that actually didn't go well. When we get back to the back end here, it grabbed and it actually pulled it in the jaw a little bit. So I'm gonna cut back to taking about 50 in a pass. All right, well that's going a little better. We got another 100 thou to go, so we're gonna do it in 50s. Definitely working better than I thought it would. I was hoping for hundreds and go quicker, but this is just fine. That end's done. That looks pretty decent. Little chatter there. I think I'm going to slow down my spindle speed back to 168 for the other end, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm going to leave it in the vise. We'll just move over to the other end and mill that way so we get them absolutely perfect to each other. Just on our first cut, that's looking a lot better. This side still looks really good, but that looks a lot better. Well, that looks pretty good. Let's get it out of there and go test fit it on the crane. Perfect. A little bit of movement just like the other ones, but absolutely perfect. Excellent. Let's go back and do the rest of them. Okay, we're going to finish this one up just to finish out the video so I can get back to milling, but I wasn't sure where the grease came out, if it was top, bottom, or the sides, so I put the grease gun to it and it shot out here. So not even in the middle. I don't think they drilled the full depth like I did, but I'm going to put mine in the middle, and I'm already set up here, so let's get that drilled. And we'll just put a dab of anchor lube on here and away we go. We'll finish it off with the 1/8 inch pipe tap for the grease zerk, and this guy is done. Well, one down and a whole pile more to go. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video. And with that, I'm going to end here because I got a lot of work to do. So until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.